The galaxy had gone silent. For weeks, the last human colonies had sent desperate calls for help, but one by one their signals faded. The Zerathian Empire, a race of tall, cold-blooded reptilian conquerors, had crushed everything in their path. Their fleets covered the stars like swarms of steel insects. On the moon's last human command base, alarms screamed. The sky burned red from orbital strikes. Smoke rose from the craters where human defense cannons once stood. Inside the underground bunker, soldiers and engineers moved like ghosts. They all knew it was over. In the command chamber stood Ambassador Elias Wren, the last diplomat of Earth. He wasn't a soldier. His uniform was simple, dark gray with the faded insignia of the United Terran Coalition. His face showed no fear, only calm exhaustion. General Marin approached him, her armor scorched. "They're breaking through the last defense wall," she said. "Evac pods are gone. We can't hold much longer." Elias looked at the blinking red lights on the main console. "Then we have done our part," he said quietly. The general frowned. "You're too calm, Ambassador. What part of this feels like victory?" Elias gave a small smile. "The part where they think it is." Before Marin could answer, the ceiling shook. A massive blast echoed from above. The Zerathians had arrived. Captured hours later, Elias woke inside a glass cell aboard a massive alien dreadnought. His wrists were bound by glowing metal cuffs. Across the chamber, several surviving officers sat in silence, their faces bruised and tired. The doors opened with a low hiss. Two tall Zerathians entered, scaled, armor-plated, and armed. Behind them came Overlord Cthulhu, their ruler. His eyes were cold yellow and his mouth curved in what humans would call a smile. "So this is the last voice of your species?" Cthulhu said, his voice deep and echoing. "A diplomat, not a warrior." Elias stood slowly. "Yes, I suppose you prefer your enemies loud and violent." "I prefer to speak." The Overlord laughed, his scaled chest shaking. "You humans were brave but foolish. You tried to resist an empire that spans 1,000 worlds. We gave you a chance to surrender. You refused. Why?" Elias looked him straight in the eye. "Because humans don't surrender their future." Cthulhu tilted his head, amused. "Your future? Your worlds burn. Your fleets are gone. What future is left?" Elias walked closer to the energy barrier that separated them. "You'll see it soon enough." The Overlord studied him, then nodded to his guards. "Take him to the High Council. Let them see what defiance looks like before it dies." The Council of Conquerors. The next day, Elias was brought to the Grand Chamber of Vareth Prime, the capital world of the Zerathian Empire. The hall was enormous, with silver floors that reflected the light of 1,000 suns. Around the circular table sat the Council of Conquerors, leaders of the Empire's many species, all under Zerathian control. Elias was placed in the center, surrounded by guards. The crowd watched in silence. Cthulhu raised his voice. "Today the war ends. The human race is finished. Their home world will be turned into ash, their history erased. Let all who hear this remember, the Empire is eternal." The hall roared with approval. Elias stood still. His face was unreadable. When the noise faded, he spoke softly. "You think you've won?" Cthulhu's eyes narrowed. "We have. Your people are broken. What more is there to say?" Elias's tone stayed calm. "You've made the same mistake every empire makes." Laughter filled the hall. "A dying man speaks of mistakes," one of the alien generals said. Elias leaned slightly forward and whispered, "You forgot rule number 1. The laughter stopped. Even Cthulhu frowned. "What rule?" Elias smiled faintly. "You'll understand soon." Before anyone could react, a strange hum filled the air. The lights flickered. One of the holographic displays on the wall turned to static. Then another. A guard shouted, "Communication link lost to Sector 8. Another console officer panicked. "We're losing fleet control in the southern rim." Cthulhu turned sharply. "What is happening? Speak." The room became chaos. Dozens of reports came in at once. Entire fleets had gone silent. Supply stations weren't responding. Stargates were offline. And Elias just stood there, watching calmly. The whisper before the storm. Cthulhu grabbed him by the collar through the barrier. "What have you done, human?" Elias didn't flinch. "Nothing today. This was done years ago." Cthulhu threw him back, enraged. "Explain." Elias looked around the grand chamber, his voice steady. "You thought you captured us. You thought enslaving humans was victory. But you forgot something. Humans build things, fix things, touch every system you own, he pointed upward. Every engine you use, every comm network you run, every piece of code you copied from our machines, it all has our fingerprints. The counselors looked at each other in fear. You see, Elias continued, while you conquered worlds, we worked quietly. Your empire's strength depends on systems you don't understand. Systems built and maintained by the slaves you mock. Cthulhu's tail slammed against the floor. You're bluffing. Elias smiled faintly. Then check your fleet logs. Moments later, the main screen at the end of the chamber came alive. Red warnings filled the display. Entire sectors, hundreds of ships were vanishing from the network. Artificial intelligences in the Empire's databases were deleting themselves. A trembling officer reported, Sire, our Central Command AI, it's gone. Elias looked at Cthulhu and whispered again. Rule number 1, never underestimate humans. The turning point, outside the capital world. Explosions lit up the black sky. Ships fired at each other without warning. Some were hijacked, others simply dead in space. Starports burned. Trade routes collapsed. Elias had said nothing more. He simply watched the chaos unfold through the transparent wall of his cell. The Zarathians were powerful. They had conquered by fear. But fear turned quickly into panic. The Empire had grown too large, too dependent on its slaves and stolen technologies. Humanity had known this. They had counted on it. Every human engineer captured by the Empire had been secretly working toward one thing, a hidden network called Project Phoenix. A digital seed buried deep inside the Empire's main systems. Silent. Waiting. And now, it was awake. Phoenix's purpose wasn't to destroy. It was to erase control, to free systems, to open communication lines between enslaved worlds, to spread truth faster than any weapon. Across the galaxy, alien species long enslaved by the Empire suddenly received human transmissions. Short, simple messages in every language. You are not alone. Rise. The Overlord's Fury Cthulhu stood in the burning council chamber, his empire collapsing in real time. He looked at Elias with hatred. You think you can destroy me with tricks and whispers? Elias met his gaze. No, we're not destroying you. We're freeing everyone else, Cthulhu roared, slamming his claws into the floor. Then I will burn what's left of your kind myself. He ordered his guards to execute the human. But before they could reach him, the floor trembled. A massive explosion tore through the side of the chamber. Shards of metal and glass flew everywhere. Through the smoke, a small human shuttle appeared, surrounded by stolen Zarathian drones. A human voice came over the speakers. Ambassador Wren, your ride's here. Elias smiled slightly. Took you long enough. He stepped through the broken barrier as smoke filled the room. Cthulhu's furious roar echoed behind him. This isn't over, human. Elias turned his head, eyes calm. No, Overlord. It's just beginning. Then he disappeared into the smoke. End of Part 1. The Zarathian Empire still stood, but cracks had begun to spread. Worlds once silent now stirred with rebellion. Communication lines buzzed with secret signals. And somewhere in the darkness of space, Ambassador Elias Wren watched from a hidden ship, the stars reflecting in his eyes. Rule number 1, he whispered to himself, always give them the illusion of victory. As the ship vanished into the void, the galaxy began to change, one whisper at a time. The stars were alive with fire. Across the galaxy, the once mighty Zarathian Empire trembled. Systems that had been under perfect control for centuries were failing. One by one, starports went dark. Fleets floated aimlessly. Artificial intelligences turned against their masters. And through it all, the humans moved quietly, deliberately, like shadows among giants. At the heart of it all was Ambassador Elias Wren. He had escaped the burning council chamber of Vareth Prime on a stolen shuttle, accompanied by a handful of loyal human engineers and freed alien allies. They had no weapons, only knowledge, courage, and the secret seed of Project Phoenix. From the bridge of his ship, Elias watched the galaxy unfold like a chessboard. It's happening, he said softly. Every empire has a weakness. Ours is patience, and now it's time. Project Phoenix Awakens. Project Phoenix was not a weapon in the traditional sense. It was a network, a living intelligence hidden inside the Empire's systems. For years, every human engineer captured by the Zarathians had been secretly planting it, disguised as maintenance software. Now, with a simple command, Elias activated it. Across the galaxy, fleets lost control, ships fired randomly, docking bays closed without warning, and communications networks collapsed. Every alien race enslaved by the Empire received encrypted messages. You are not slaves. You are free. Rise with us. On the planet Krythos, long under Zarathian rule, thousands of workers stopped their labor, staring at the screens. For the first time, they understood the truth. Their masters had lied. Humans had waited, hidden, preparing for this moment. Elias's voice echoed through the networks, calm but commanding. Rule number 1, never underestimate humans. We plan while we bleed, and today we rise together. The first rebellion, the first spark was small. A single ship turned on its fleet. Then another. Then entire starports rebelled. What the Zarathians thought were loyal systems were actually human-controlled sleeper nodes. They had waited for the perfect moment to strike. Overlord Cthulhu watched from the capital world, his eyes wide with disbelief. Impossible, he growled. This cannot happen. But it was happening. His fleets were mutinying. Supply lines were severed. His communications with distant worlds were jammed by the same people he had enslaved. From his hidden shuttle, Elias transmitted a simple command. All units, stand down. Let them see the truth. And for a moment the galaxy held its breath. The Zarathian Empire, the proud conqueror of thousands of worlds, was paralyzed. Not by bombs, not by soldiers, but by humans who had never surrendered. Rising allies' word spread fast. Across the stars, alien species long oppressed began to rise. The Krythians, once miners enslaved for centuries, armed themselves. The Tarlok engineers, previously forced to maintain fleet systems, sabotaged ships from within. Humans had spent years secretly teaching them, showing them how to fight back without risking detection. Elias's ship became a moving command center. From it, he coordinated the awakening of hundreds of planets. Humans and aliens worked together seamlessly, each following the signals sent through Project Phoenix. A young Krythian engineer, Lyra, looked at Elias in awe. "You've done all this, without a single shot fired?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "Sometimes the greatest victories happen without fighting. You give hope, you give knowledge, and the universe will do the rest." The Overlord's desperation, Cthulhu, was furious. He sent his personal fleet to crush the rebellion at Sector 12, where humans had secretly stationed their main control hub. His ships arrived to find empty stations. Communications were hacked. Drones turned on their masters. Entire fleets had vanished, reappearing in the hands of the uprising. How is this possible? Cthulhu hissed, his claws digging into the armrest of his throne. Every plan, every calculation died gone. A trembling counselor whispered, "They must have infiltrated everything, every system, every control, every ship." Cthulhu's eyes burned. "Then destroy everything. Leave nothing alive. If they cannot be stopped, then everything must die." Elias, watching through hidden sensors, only smiled faintly. The Overlord's fury played into his hands. Every move Cthulhu made hastened his own defeat. Humans had never fought directly with fleets or weapons. They fought with intelligence, patience, and willpower. The turning of the galaxy across dozens of worlds, the rebellion spread like wildfire. Humans coordinated resistance not with bombs, but with information. Ships and stations once under Zarathian control became beacons of freedom. On the planet Vornis, a group of human engineers disabled a massive energy cannon aimed at enslaved colonies. Their message was simple. You have been lied to. Take back your world. Thousands joined in the uprising. Alien leaders who had once feared humans now stood side by side with them. We underestimated you, one alien general admitted. But you have shown us the way. Elias recorded each victory, each world liberated. He never celebrated, never gloat. Humans did not need glory. They needed freedom, and a galaxy that remembered their courage. The Battle of Vareth Prime. Finally, the time came to strike at the heart of the Empire, Vareth Prime, the capital. The planet's defenses were massive, but Project Phoenix had already infiltrated every system. Starports could be opened or closed at will. Fleets would follow hidden instructions. Elias and his team moved carefully. No human soldier would fire unless necessary. The galaxy itself became the weapon. Cthulhu watched from his throne room as alarms screamed. Ships he had commanded for centuries were now under rebel control. Communications with distant generals had been severed. His empire was unraveling. Elias sent one final message. Overlord Cthulhu, you have conquered with fear, but fear cannot hold the galaxy forever. Stand down and perhaps your empire can survive in another form. Resist and everything you know will fall, Cthulhu roared in anger. I will not bow to humans. Elias smiled faintly. Rule number 1, Overlord. Never underestimate us. The collapse of the empire, and then it began. With a single coordinated sequence, Project Phoenix took over the capital's defense grid. Starports locked down, fleets turned against each other, supply lines disappeared. Every enslaved species rose up. Cthulhu's forces were helpless. His personal guard fought valiantly, but they were few, and the rebellion was everywhere. Systems once thought loyal now betrayed him. In the command room, Cthulhu faced Elias one last time. His empire was crumbling, but he refused to surrender. You think this is victory? He growled. Even if you win today, the galaxy will rise against you again. Elias shook his head. No, today we show the galaxy that strength is not just fleets or weapons. Strength is intelligence, courage, and unity. Humans survive because we plan, because we adapt, and because we never give up. Cthulhu lunged forward, but human and alien allies restrained him. His reign of fear ended in silence, a new era. Begins Vareth Prime burned not in conquest but in liberation. Across the stars, enslaved worlds celebrated. Human flags flew alongside alien banners, symbols of unity. Elias stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the galaxy breathe freely for the first time in centuries. The rebellion had been won not with armies, but with careful planning, patience, and hope. He spoke softly to Lyra, the young Crethian engineer beside him. Remember this moment. Rule number 1 is simple. Never underestimate humans. But it also means this. We fight for what is right, not what is easy. And the galaxy remembers those who act wisely. She nodded, eyes shining. You showed us all what it means to be strong, Ambassador. Elias smiled faintly. No, we all did it together. Humans inspired it, but the galaxy made it real. That is the true power of life, of unity, of hope. From the shadows of the collapsing empire, humans and aliens worked together to rebuild, to repair, and to ensure that no empire would ever rise unchecked again. And in the hearts of all who lived through it, a simple lesson was remembered. Rule number 1, never underestimate humans.